What's going on, guys? It's been a while. Swing model here. Back for a little review, tabletop review. A little history. Some history points on this gun here. I just picked up. I picked it up Wednesday at the local shop. Couldn't pass it up. Before we get into that, hope everybody, hope everybody's been safe. Hope everybody's been healthy. Hope everybody's been good. Well, everything, in addition to that, and just hope everybody's doing good. Holiday seasons in the past has not been kind to me as far as losing people. So, I know what it's like to not maybe be up in spirits as it is during the holidays or whatever. But just hope everybody's good. We'll just leave it at that. Here in Central PA, we just wrapped up rifle season. I was able to get a doe. I did not get my buck. We'll try again. We got late season, day after Christmas. It comes back in for flintlock, muzzleloader, and archery. You can use compound, crossbow, recurve, longbow, whatever. Any of those, and anything flintlock, black powder. That's into, I think, second week of January, so we'll see. Not really pressed on it. It is what it is. It's hard hunting, man. I'm used to it. I'm thankful for the big doe I got. She was a big mature deer, so. And I actually donated her to a local homeless shelter. We have meat. We got plenty of meat. We got enough deer the last couple of years. I just figured I would pay it forward a little bit. And donate that big doe that I harvested to the local food bank / homeless shelter. But anyway, let's get into the gun here. I was able to pick this up for a super cheap price. This is, and hopefully the sun is beating right down on me. The sun will come out and it'll get cloudy and back and forth, so yeah, it should be good. I'm back here on the table that you've seen me in the summer. We got about 3 inches of snow here, and my table sort of got all out of whack, so I had to makeshift it. I had to put this towel down, whatever, so I'm working with what I got. But this here, as you can see, right by my middle finger, I can't really see good in this lens because of the sun. But hopefully you can see. This is an Eastfield Model 916A. Eastfield Model 916A. Manufactured by, what does that say? Manufactured by Smith Wesson. Springfield, Massachusetts, USA. What the hell? Yes, folks. Smith Wesson did make shotguns. They made them for about 10 years. 1972-ish to 1982, 83-ish. Flash in the pan for 10, 11 years, and boom. They got out of the shotgun market. Mainly because they weren't that good. We all know the history and the quality of Smith's revolvers, their pistols. However, their shotguns, it's another story. And the problem with their shotguns was they took over a lot of other companies' projects and tried to make them better. And while they did, maybe they did improve them a little bit. In the end, they were pretty much junk. I mean, I don't say junk. I would say more faulty. I mean, I don't really like to call any kind of gun junk, but I mean they were. Let's go back specifically this gun. Of course, this is a 916A. They had a 916, just a regular 916, which was a standard. They had a 916A, which is what this is, which was considered a tactical version, or a riot gun. And then they had a T, the 916T, which was a hunting, an outdoor model. I'll show you some things on the gun here, and then I'll go over the history on it a little bit. These came in blued, you know, the black, the blued finish, or the polished nickel. Of course, this is just a plain Jane blued. Bead front sight. Just the groove here on the receiver. Tang safety. Some for composite ceramic plastic trigger guard. I don't know why. Just make it metal. Quit cutting corners. I mean, another shot 16 gauge I redid had the same damn thing. It was like a plastic trigger guard. Why? But anyway, steel receiver. The metal, the wood on these, from what I know, every one of these that was made is all walnut. It's all American walnut. And the wood, actually, it's not bad looking wood. Still got the lacquer on it. There's some dull spots back here on the stock. The butt pad on this is missing. And I have a hell of a time finding this. It's going to be hard. I look for Nermrich and all those companies. I can't find it. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get one of those rubber slip over butts. Unless I can find one and maybe trim it. But I don't, you know. I'm just going to get one of those rubber slip-ons and put over it. This is just going to be a bump in the night gun, but I mean, it's smooth. It works smooth. You know, it's one of the most beautiful sounds right there, isn't it? Yes, it is. I mean, it's smooth. Won't take much force. It's got some good. Of course, it's just like the Mossbergs. The pump, it feels like it's going to fall off, and I'm not knocking Mossberg. To me, that's like the telltale sign that something is patterned or is a Mossberg. The pumps are always loose and jiggly, but they work. 'Proof test, this is a 12 gauge, 3-inch chamber, cylinder bore. As you can see, it's got some nicks, there's some pits, there's some rust on it. The feed lip here, the lip here at the bottom has some rust and corrosion. Now, from what I was researching, that these barrels, right in front of the receiver here where the barrel starts, if they have a C printed on them, it was a remanufactured or a reconditioned barrel. No, but this has a P and a J, and we'll get into that P here in a minute. But as you see, I hope this is coming through on the camera. It is. Right here, there's a crack that was filled. There's some scuffs. There's a little chunk missing right there. This crack here, it was not fixed. That's a bad spot for a crack. But I'm going to redo this gun. I'm going to strip it. I'm going to reblue it. I'm going to redo the wood. And if you see right here, you could actually flex that. When I move it, it moves. There's 2 spots where it's cracked right there. That's going to be the biggest concern for me. This and the crack back here. So, we'll see. I mean, it's not terrible. I would say 1 out of 10 condition. It's a, cosmetically, it's probably a 4 or 5. So, somewhere in the middle. I've seen worse, I've seen better. But going in the front has the place for the sling swivel adapter on the front, and it has one here, so it's ready for the sling. But that's a good look at her. Now comes the boring part. A lot of you don't like when I just ramble about shit, but if you don't like it, just don't watch. But I'm gonna give you a little bit of history of the gun. Actually, before we do that, if you see, I don't know if you can see it, from about here to here, that is worn. And it's smoother, and it's a different blue. Like the black is different colored. I wonder if somebody had a, one of those almost like a band clamp on a exhaust on a vehicle. Just wrap around that barrel, and maybe they had a light or a laser or something. We'll get into that in a minute, because I think it might have something to do with the origins of this gun. Now, and the cool thing about these, you can slam fire these, so that's always a plus, right? Yeah. So it is an Eastfield Model 916A. It's a pump 12 gauge shotgun, manufactured by Smith Wesson USA. They were produced in the 1970s. These specifically, the Model 916s, were produced from 1973 to 1980. So we have 7-8 years of production, not much. There was just over 10,000 of these produced. So it's not a lot of guns. I mean, from 73 to 80, that's what, 7-8 years. They only produced a little over 10,000 of these. In the A's, and the T's, and the the standard 916 models. They were used. Now this model specifically, the A model, that's a tactical. That was their tactical model, and it is it's a 20-inch barrel. So these were used by police. They were actually branded as riot guns. So now there is Eastfield 916s, which is what this is. So this is an Eastfield model, manufactured by Smith Wesson. For a couple years, there was also a Smith Wesson 916. It's just rebranding bullshit. You know how gun companies do it. Just money rights and manufacturing rights and all that. But from what I found, the finishes were pretty much the same. Cosmetically, they were the same. The Smith Wesson 916 did not have this. They did not have the sling swivels. The difference being, the biggest difference, and I wish this had it, they all had the front bead sight, except for a few of the models. I think all of the Smith Wesson 916s had rifle sights. So instead of the front bead, you would have like a front post, like a rifle sight, and then on the rear, it was right at the end of the receiver, I believe. It was either right at the end of the receiver or right at the start. It'll be the back of the barrel. So right about here, instead of this dovetail type groove, they would have actually a rear rifle sight. So I mean, there was a rifle sight on a pump shotgun, which is badass, to me. And that would be very effective as a police gun. Back in the 70s and very early 80s. Of course, the variants, they had 916 standard. And see, this is where it differs a little bit, because I was looking up all the 916As were 20-inch barrels, the tactical versions. And then where it differed a little bit, the T's, which was like a takedown model, the 916T was a takedown model, which was their hunting model, their outdoorsman model. I've seen them in 28 or 30-inch barrels. I don't know if that's the branding between the Eastfield 916s and the specific Smith Wesson 916s. It's a very different gun. That's why it's kind of an oddball. I read up on it a little bit before I bought it. So, hey, it'd be cool to have something like this, just because of the rebranding difference. So, the T models to take down, the outdoor versions, they were 28 or 30-inch barrels, depending if it was a Smith & Wesson or an Eastfield model. And then your standard, just your regular standard 916s, they were 26-inch barrels, Smith or the Eastfield, from what I'm finding. That's just from what I read. I didn't know a whole lot about these guns, so I looked everything up. Or most of the stuff I'm telling you, I looked up. I knew they were riot guns and all that, blah, 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 blah. But this is one of those guns I really had to look up, Not a whole lot of information on them. It was cool to learn about them. So the standard model, 26-inch barrel. The takedown / outdoor version, 28 or 30-inch. And then the T model, tactical, which is what I have here, 20-inch barrel. All cylinder bores. They were available in 12, 16, and 20 gauge. Now the weights I could not find for the other models. The standard weight for the 916 standard model with the 26-inch barrel was 7 1/4 pounds. Total length on them was 48 inches on the standard model. So muzzle, the buttstock, 48 inches, exactly 4 feet. For those of you that can do math, and sometimes I can't, but I do know that 4 feet is 48 inches, so it's a 4-foot gun. It's not this one, obviously, the standard models. Front bead sight, grooved rear, like I said on this one. Some models did have the rifle sights. I wrote a little bit of this down, so I'm just going over my notes here. So I can't remember anything in my head like I used to be able to. That goes a couple different reasons we won't get into on this video. But those days are behind me. So yes, I'm getting old. So I have to write some things down now. Can you believe that? Here's the cool part about these. Now, there was a company. They were around in the 20s, I believe. It was called Noble Manufacturing. Noble Manufacturing Company. They were from Williamsburg, Massachusetts. And in 1943, they originally produced these guns. They were the original guys to do these Eastfield / Smith Wessons. Before they were Eastfield or Smith Wesson, they were Noble. They produced these shotguns originally themselves up until they actually filed bankruptcy in middle 1971-ish. And by 1973, they were out of business. So, they were around 40 or some years. They made these guns for 30 years, and then they went out of business. And in comes Smith Wesson. Smith Wesson being in Springfield, Massachusetts, which is only about 25 miles from Williamsburg, Massachusetts, where Noble Manufacturing Company was. In 1972, Smith & Wesson bought the patents and the tooling from Noble Manufacturing. Now, that was in 1972. The year of the Agnes flood, for those that are in the Northeast. Of course, I wasn't alive then. That was, 15 years before my time, but my parents and grandparents told me about it, so I know about it. So, 72 flood. That was the year Smith & Wesson bought the patents and the tooling from Noble to make these. And actually bought the patents and tooling for Noble's Model 66. That was their 12-gauge pump-action shotgun that this is based off of. It was their Model 66. Of course, Smith & Wesson then produced it as their Model 916 in the 3 versions I mentioned, the T, the A, and the standard. This gun, I don't want to call it junk, but this gun had a lot of problems. Not this model, not my model specifically, but the T model, which is the outdoor model, the takedown model, the longer barreled version. It was plagued by many quality issues, I would say. There was including a recall due to a safety issue with the barrels of the 916 T models. The barrels were actually rupturing and blowing apart, so that's you don't want that. That's a huge problem with shotguns. If your barrel explodes on a shotgun, in my opinion, the most violent gun per platform on the planet. A shotgun is just pure violent. And when barrels blow apart on a shotgun, it's I don't know if you've ever seen it or if you've ever been around or had it happen to you. An exploding barrel on a shotgun of any gauge is, it's scary, and it's quite intimidating. So that's not good. Needless to say, this series was later discontinued, and it was replaced by the pump action Smith Wesson pump action model 3000, and it was their comp to the Remington 870, and also the semi-auto model 1000 in 1980, and that was the Remington model 1100 comp. You know, that was their competition with the model 1100, and the 3000 model, the model 3000, was the Remington 870 comp that Smith & Wesson was trying to offer. So it's a competitive thing, you know, like everything is pretty much, not just guns. So that's a little bit. Of course, the American walnut stock and foregrip came in the blued or the polished nickel finish. The capacity on these, before I get into the capacity, these were also, I couldn't look it up when. I could not find the years on it. Maybe I just overlooked it, and I could find them, but I didn't. But these were also, in addition to being made by Noble, branded by Eastfield and Smith & Wesson, these were also made for a short period of time. And I don't know how many years, but they were made a short period of time. They're actually made in Japan by Howa. We all know, most of you guys should know Howa. They make pretty damn good rifles, in my opinion. But Howa actually made some of these under their own design and patent or whatever in Japan for a couple years. I'm guessing this is a short period of time. Howa actually made these in Japan until they folded, until they went under. And I'm not sure if you know, it was before or after Noble or whatever, but Howa actually made their own version of these two. So capacity on these guns, I think it's the same for all of them. I think they all have the same tube length. I could be wrong, but the general capacity I was finding for 3-inch, 6 total. So you get 5 in the tube and 1 in the chamber. So you get 6 total with 3-inch shells. 2 3/4, you get 8 total. So you can hold 7 in the tube and 1. 7 plus 1, so you get 8 total with 2 3/4. Here's the cool thing with the little 2 1/4 inch mini shells. Whether it's the snake shot, you know, the buckshot, the bird shot, whatever. I actually make the 2 1/4 mini slugs, which is bizarre. But for the 2 1/4 inch shells, you can hold 10 in here. So you can hold 9 in the tube, and you can hold 1 in the chamber. So you get a total capacity of 10, which is pretty neat. And of course, you can put like a butt sock on there, or a side saddle adapter, like TT, Terribly Tactical, mentions in his videos. So I mean, potentially, even if you go 2 3/4 route, there's 8. What does the shell holders usually hold? 6, so there's another, what, 5, that's 13 or 14. And then, you know, you get the sock for the butt sock. Well, you hold another 5, so, I mean, you could have a 20, 21 capacity gun with the side saddle, and the butt sock, I can't remember what the fuck these things are ever called. I call them butt socks, but the shell holders or whatever. So you could have a 20 plus capacity gun here between the tube, side saddle, and the shell holder. So, one nice little tidbit before I get out of here. This gun, either the Smith or the Eastfield or the Smith & Wesson 916 model, been seen in roughly 20 movies, I guess. I wrote a couple of them down. It's in Dawn of the Dead. It's in Never Say Die. It's in Cold Steel. It's in The Happening. And apparently it's in Fast and the Furious, Fast 5. I'd have to go back and rewatch it. But apparently this gun's been in some movies, so that's it, guys. I did not shoot this yet. It's been shitty weather. I need to get out. Maybe I'll do some blasting here before Christmas. Maybe on Christmas Eve. It's like a little tradition. I usually like to shoot a little on Christmas Eve if we can, depending on what day it falls and what we're up to and how the weather is and all that. But see what happens. Maybe I'll do a little review. I'm going to do some more shooting stuff. I know a lot of you have been asking for it, and you've been recommending I do more shooting videos. And I'm with you. I'd like to. I just, it's hard to find time. And I can't really shoot much here local because there's so many damn people live around me now. But I'll get some shooting videos out to you guys here in the spring, I promise. Or maybe here in the late winter. But that's about it, guys. Beautiful sound, ain't it? Nice little look at it. It's a good looking gun. I'm going to redo it, so I might take you guys through the process of redoing it. Nice little look at her there. But we'll leave you guys at that. Hope you guys have a good weekend. If I don't get another video out before, you guys have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays, I guess, depending on whatever your fancy is. Whatever you like to celebrate. It's your freedom. Do what you want. Just remember, stay safe. Not keep fighting for your freedoms. You know, be grateful for what you have. Be grateful for how far we've